Hello.
Can you please tell me about yourself?
Yep, my name is Danton Ford, and I'm originally from Houston, Texas, in the United States.
Okay, how long have you been here in South Korea?
I've been living in South Korea for over 10 years.
Okay, what brought you to Korea?
I originally came after graduating college. I had a friend of mine. I was wanting to go overseas to get some experience, and a friend of mine suggested going to Korea. I had majored in English education, and he said there were good opportunities to work in Korea in the field of English teaching, and that's how I first came.
Okay, then what do you do usually for fun in South Korea?
For fun, I meet some friends. I like to exercise. I live near the Han River, so I like to go down by the river and jog and exercise on the weekends. I sometimes just meet friends for dinner or coffee. Sometimes I attend different cultural events around the city, maybe like musicals or Korean cultural events and things like that.
Then what are the things that you like the most about Korea? Like, what are the things that you
I
really
like most? I actually really like Korean people. I think they're quite warm, quite hospitable. They had good hospitality, and it's very easy to connect on a very human level, I think, with Korean people. And I like the kind of work hard, play hard culture in Korea. You know, people work really hard, but they also play hard as well and try to have fun. So I like that as well. And I like the sort of the energy, the dynamic energy that you feel here as well.
What about food? Do you like Korean food?
I do like Korean food.
What is your favorite?
One of my favorites is 감자탕, actually.
Oh,
I really like
okay,
감자탕.
that's my favorite also.
I really quite like that. Yeah.
Okay, already. That's all. What about what something else? Do you have anything else that you like about Korea? Like
Anything else I like about Korea?
I mean, like, do you have any special experience that you had in Korea? Like memorable experience that you want to share?
Memorable experiences. You know, I think just sometimes the kindness of Korean people surprises me. I think you can see things here you would not see back in the United States. I remember one day coming out of the subway station and it was raining really hard. I did not have an umbrella, but an older Korean man stood next to me with his umbrella and he walked with me and we shared his umbrella so that I wouldn't get wet. And I thought that was quite surprised by that, actually, because I don't think that would happen in a lot of places. So,
Okay.
yeah, but
Okay, I'm so proud of like being Korean then.
Okay.
Yeah, then let me ask you another question.
Okay.
What are the cultural differences that you face while living in South Korea?
I think cultural differences, I know it's a crowded city, so sometimes personal space is an issue on the subways and on the public transportation. It's really crowded. People kind of push and shove, and these things are hard to get used to, actually. I think another thing I find difficult is the kind of hierarchy or hierarchical structure of the society. So especially in the workplace, this can be quite challenging because you really just have to listen to what your superior says and you don't really object or disagree with them. And so sometimes it's a little bit difficult because you may not feel that what they want to do is the best thing to do, but you have to do it. I think that's, as a Westerner, it's quite challenging because in a Western situation, everyone is encouraged to give their ideas and to criticize and to, you know, point out problems and things like that. And I think sometimes you don't see that as much here, so it's hard to adjust to that a little bit. Other cultural differences. I think Korea is very much a collectivist society, so you know, being in a group and functioning as a group is very important. Whereas, of course, being from the United States, individualism is highly valued. So I find that, you know, I like doing things on my own. I like being by myself, going out by myself, and a lot of times Koreans have a hard time understanding why am I doing that by myself? Well, I must be lonely, but I'm not. And because they really have a sense of getting together and doing things together. And so, you know, it's kind of one of the differences I've noticed as well. Even just sharing food at the table, you know, usually you get your own plate, you know, and you're used to that as an American. You eat from your own plate, but in Korea you often just get several different plates and you know, share the food off those plates. So I had a hard time adjusting to that actually when I first came.
Yeah, I understand what you mean.
Yeah, a little bit of time to adjust. But,
okay.
yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And
Sure.
my last question is, do you have any recommendation for people who might want to, visit Korea or plan to come to Korea?
Okay. I think anyone who's going to come to, if you're going to come here long term, I really recommend you make Korean friends. I think you really need to interact with Korean people because that's going to help you understand how Korean society works, how Koreans think. I think a lot of foreigners might come to Korea and have a tendency to make foreign friends but not Korean friends. And therefore they're missing out on the opportunity to get to know Koreans as people and get to build those relationships with Koreans. And I think it's important to do that. If you're coming short term, just as a visitor, certainly there are many things that you might want to see culturally, different tourist sites and things like that. I think having an opportunity to visit a temple anywhere, any temple is quite an interesting experience. I think be open to trying lots of unique Korean foods. Don't be shy about that, even if it's
Like, for example?
raw octopus that's moving on your plate. Just be open to it. Give it a try. And there's quite a bit of adventure, I think, that you can have here in terms of food for someone who might be, looking to sort of expand, their experiences with different types of food. I think a temple stay is also quite a unique experience if you want to understand a little bit more about, Buddhism and how Buddhist monks live and also just the experience of being in the mountains and the quiet can be quite nice. I think Korea has a lot of unique cultural sites that you can see, but a lot of beautiful nature as well. So I think getting out of the city, don't just stay in Seoul. Get outside of Seoul, experience the countryside, look at the mountains, meet the people in the countryside. Eat at their restaurants. I think this is really important. Even if you can't speak to them, they will try to help you as much as they can, in my experience. Even if you can't communicate, they'll be usually quite happy to try to, help you. And, so take that opportunity to get out of Seoul and see things beyond the big city. So those would be my recommendations.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.